Do you think you know Rick Harrison, the nice, knowledgeable about history, sure of himself man from Pawn Stars? Not so fast. What the FBI found in his home is not only shocking, but it could also destroy the public image you once believed in. This story isn't about old things or rare things. Rick has kept this dark secret for many years. No one can hide this fact any longer. Are you ready to understand the truth? Do not forget to like, follow, and turn on notifications. What is about to happen will permanently change how you see Rick Harrison. Rick Harrison ran a huge business based on deals and antiques. He is now the focus of one of the scariest criminal investigations the world has ever seen. He had been running his pawn shop successfully for years, and it made him famous. Now the FBI has stepped in and started a huge investigation into his shady activities. Anyone, including the police and the public, could not have guessed what was hiding behind the gates of his huge house. It began as a simple review of the finances but quickly turned into a much worse nightmare. The FBI thought that when they went into the house they would find financial problems, shady contracts, or at the very least business fraud. But what they find is not at all what they thought it would be. There are 25 bodies hidden all over the huge estate. Some are in secret rooms, some are buried in the yard, and more have been found in the darkest areas. Rick Harrison used to be a popular performer because of how smart and cool he was, but now he is connected to something very scary. A killer who does it over and over. How is this possible? Someone who is known for loving old things that aren't common, got caught up in a terrible chain of events. We need to look further than what happened in the house to get to the bottom of the story. We need to find out more about Rick Harrison. What does he hide behind the front that everyone has always believed? At first look, Rick Harrison doesn't seem like the kind of person who would be involved in cruel crimes like these. Millions of people watch him as the friendly and informed pawn shop owner who makes deals that are fun to watch and makes people laugh with his dry, charming humor. His reality TV show Pawn Stars is one of the most watched of all time, where each show is about an important and rare antique. Rick is not only very knowledgeable about history and old things, but he is also a great example of a wealthy businessman. He has lived the American dream by turning his hobby into a fortune. But the cameras never show the evil that is slowly moving in behind the scenes. Even though Pawn Stars is very popular and does well, Rick Harrison doesn't seem happiness with it. People are talking about a different person, one who is much darker than the public has ever seen them. Then when federal agents looked into his business more, they found something shocking that was truer than any story. There was a scary nightmare that no one had ever seen that was hidden in the house of a person the country used to trust. As the FBI learns more about Rick Harrison's personal life, they find a pattern of strange events. There is more and more proof that Harrison's well-known pawn shop is linked to illegal activities, shady business practices, and his own behavior that is becoming less predictable. What was once a great business model and an inspiring story of the American dream has been found to be a carefully hidden front for something much worse. It starts out as a study into money matters, but quickly turns into a nightmare. Over time, FBI agents learned that Harrison does a lot more than just buying and selling antiques and pawns, as they had first thought. Behind the smooth exterior and sharp gaze is a dark world, a far-reaching link to the crime world that no one saw coming. Rick hid what he was really doing behind the scenes in the shop that made him famous. The mansion, which used to be a sign of wealth, was now the horrible site of several shocking killings. And the 25 bodies that were found were not hurt by random acts of violence. They were part of a cold plan to kill people that had been kept secret for years in plain sight of everyone. The FBI did more than just look at the books. They looked into it more and followed every tip, and then found signs that linked Harrison to a string of unsolved murders. With each new piece of proof, more darkness was revealed. Rick Harrison, who was once praised as a great businessman, had built his kingdom by lying, manipulating people, and maybe even killing people. However, the most important question is how Rick Harrison, who has millions of fans, could have kept such a dark secret from everyone for so long. How could he keep up the appearance of being a nice, funny, smart man, while living a wicked double life? The answer lies in how complicated he was, and how big of a company he made. It became clear that this was more than just a crime as the probe went on. The people were shocked and hurt by it. The FBI's results shocked people all over the United States right away. Not only did the number of bodies shock people, but it had been kept secret for a long time and very well. Rick Harrison was able to keep his really scary secret from everyone, even the people closest to him. No one, not even his family, friends or old co-workers, saw the monster he had turned into. As the search went on to find the truth, Rick Harrison's reputation started to fall apart. He was no longer the charming TV star that everyone loved. He was a killer from the heart now, a dangerous animal hiding in plain sight. As more shocking information about the investigation came out, it became clearer how horrible his crimes were. Each new piece of information added another stab to the scary picture of a man who was once looked up to as a role model. Rick Harrison used to hide behind his fame and wealth on the TV show Pawn Stars. Now he is the subject of a shocking probe. The FBI probe not only finds proof of a murder, but it also finds a dark side to Rick's life that has been building up for years. It turned out that his reputation was based on a lie, a carefully created front to hide the horrifying truths. As the investigation goes on, and more secrets are revealed, it becomes clear that this is not just the story of a businessman who lost everything. It is also the tragedy of a man who lied to everyone, and kept his deepest secrets from them. The whole country is shocked when the shocking truth about Rick Harrison comes out. So how could a man who seems so nice and likable on TV keep such a bad secret? A lot of people are still thinking about that question. If you look closely, things might not be what they seem to be. Sometimes the truth is scarier than anything we can imagine. Rick Harrison hasn't always been a well-known figure. He began like many business owners do, with a small dream, and a clear idea of how powerful a good deal can be. Rick was born in 1965, and didn't grow up in a family that was into old things or collecting them. Before coming to Las Vegas, he grew up in North Carolina. It was there that the story that would change his life forever would happen. It wasn't easy for a young unknown and unbanked man to get by in Las Vegas, which is known for its bright lights, high stakes, and promise of instant wealth. Some people who weren't strong enough could be crushed and killed there. But Rick had something useful. He was good at business, and could see worth in things other people didn't. Rick began working as a pawn shop owner when he was a youngster. He opened a small store and sold anything he could to make money. That was all it was, a small store in downtown Las Vegas. But Rick saw a big picture. He didn't just want a pawn shop like everyone else. Unlike other things on the market, he wanted to make something that stood out. Things that other people didn't stop to look at, like antiques, historical artifacts, lost treasures, and things that Rick saw as having potential. His love of history, and his quick sense for how much things are worth quickly, became his trademarks. People began to notice the small shop. People came to do more than just buy and sell. They also came to hear Rick talk about and judge unique things. Rick did more than just sell pawns. People knew and trusted his advice because he was a real expert. But what made him really stand out was how smart he was at business. He knew that pawn shops were more than just places to sell old gadgets or gold. They were gold mines that were hidden. Rick started to buy a lot of different things, from expensive collectibles to rare works of art and historical papers. Over time he became known as a treasure hunter, with an unmatched ability to notice small details. In 2009, Rick got a chance that would change his life when TV producers came to him with a plan for a new reality show. They were looking for a pawn shop that was run by a family, and could give them an interesting look into the strange world of buying and selling. From there things changed. That show turned into Pawn Stars. It was a simple idea that worked well. Use real experts like Rick as the stars to record daily transactions, who added their skills and ideas to each one. Pawn Stars became a huge hit because of the funny and dramatic talks. The name Rick's Pawn Shop spread around the world, making it a global business. But Rick Harrison hid a dark secret that no one could have dreamed behind the fame. It was a shocking truth that the world faced when those lies came to light. The most dangerous people aren't always the ones you know. Pawn Stars quickly became popular, going from being a small reality show to a huge cultural phenomenon. A huge number of people watched every week as Rick Harrison, his dad Richard Old Man Harrison, his son Corey Big Hoss Harrison, and the strange but cute Chumley figured out how to buy and sell old things. The show wasn't just about the things that were being sold. It was also about the people who were making the deals. People loved Rick because he had a dry sense of humor, was cool, didn't take things personally, and knew a lot about history. Rick did more than run a business. He became a figure that people looked forward to seeing every week. After that, Pawn Stars became one of the most popular reality shows of all time. It made Rick Harrison a fortune, and made the gold and silver pawn shop famous all over the world. The History Channel ran the show over and over again. Rick's family business company grew by leaps and bounds. Riches and fame gave Rick chances he never thought he'd have. From big talk shows to interviews to small parts in movies. But being famous always cost something. People paid more attention to porn stars as they got bigger. Rick no longer ran a small Las Vegas pawn shop. He was now the face of a business all over the world. The attention put on him meant he had to keep his business running smoothly, keep up his public image and keep getting people to watch reality TV, even though the world is always changing. Rick looked like he was on top of his game. His personal brand was growing, and the number of people watching was going up, but rumors started to spread behind the scenes. Some old co-workers, who were close to Rick, started to think that the man they saw on TV wasn't really the man who ran the pawn shop behind the door. There were rumors of shady business deals, discontent within the company, and shady dealings. The whole time Rick was smiling for the cameras, a darker truth was growing behind his carefully constructed front. It was more terrifying than anyone could have thought. Then it finally took place. As the Pawn Stars kingdom grew, a series of awful events began that no one could hear. There were no news stories or public protests. It was just a quiet call to the government office, a tip from someone unknown, and a warning that had been ignored for too long. But that moment, which didn't seem important at the time, led the FBI to look into what happened, and study that would show what Rick Harrison's real life is like. There was a shocking probe going on about the man who used to be loved by millions of people, and when Rick's long-kept secrets came out, his image as a successful businessman and family man fell apart in a way that no one could have seen coming. At first the police didn't think there was a serial killer. It's not even like they were looking for crooks. The study began with a check of the gold and silver pawn shop's finances.